Joel with Power Stance Import Export, and thanks for checking this video out. It is for an eBay listing, but if you happen to stumble across it through a random YouTube search or a suggestion and you have any questions about these vehicles, please give me a call at the number listed above. You can speak to me directly, or you can find us online, Facebook, Instagram, this YouTube channel, or even the eBay store at Power Stance Import Export. Also, please like and subscribe to the video. We've always got new inventory coming in, which means new videos. So if you've ever wanted to own a Land Rover Defender or anything 4x4 diesel that you can't get here in the United States, that's what we specialize in. We are a licensed used car dealer located right here in Oxford, Michigan. Hey folks, and up for sale today, I've got a beautiful 1995 Land Rover Defender 90 with the 300 TDI turbo diesel. This is a right-hand drive UK import. It has been legally imported. It's now located here in Michigan and comes with a clean, clear Michigan title. So let me walk you around the vehicle. I'll show you the whole thing inside and out, underside, and we'll also take it for a test ride. So starting off here up front, we've got a beautiful, looks to be a new bumper and shiny new light bar with a nice set of Y-packs that come on with your brights. Standard set of light surrounds, signals, headlights, standard grille, radiators looking pretty good. And under the bonnet here, this looks to have been Arles blue at one point and repainted in white. So the bottom of the bonnet is blue, and the other, the outside is white. This is an Alpine white paint job. In the engine bay here, this is the 300 TDI. Beautifully dry on the intake side. Footwells look great. And we've got a nice set of silicone intake hoses for the intercooler. That looks like a new belt for the serpentine belt. Coolant lines look good. Pretty decent looking 300 TDI. And there's your air filter, master cylinder, all that good stuff, fuel filter. Looks pretty decent under here. And this vehicle does only have 53,000 original miles. And you can check that out on the MOT history. This vehicle has only been driven about 1,000 to 3,000 miles per year since new. All right, moving along here to the passenger side. We got a nice set of black checker plate here on the wings, so you can set your tools down. You can stand up here. This is a snow cowl, so that snow doesn't get into the heater. It just draws the air in from there instead. Pretty decent looking paint job. A couple blemishes here and there. There's some corrosion there and a little poke right there. Oversized wheel arches and definitely a set of oversized tires. These are Cooper Discoverer STTs. The size is 285/75 R16. Nice big wide tire, deep dish rims, and they do not rub actually, which is pretty amazing. Nice set of galvanized hinges and checker plate on the bottom sill as well. Now there is a tiny bit of corrosion on the door bottoms, and a little bit here. So the doors are not perfect, but they're in pretty decent shape. There is a little bit of rust on the bottoms here, but it's not rusted through. This could be scraped off and repainted and salvaged. Inside, we've got a nice aftermarket set of vinyl on the seat boxes. Beautiful set of sound deadening material here on the footwells and floor mats. Vinyl seat covers, and the footwells I showed you on the engine bay, but from down here you can also see them. Those are in pretty great shape. Beautiful looking front outriggers as well. Nice little set of side steps. Moving along here to the back, we do have a nice little set of panoramic glass, which gives you a nice view out of the back. So it's a pretty decent setup. Kind of cool looking, goes with the black roof. Again, wheel arches, oversized tires, aftermarket suspension and springs. Of course, it does have a lift on it, probably about, I would say, 2 to 3 inch lift on there. Chassis, the rear cross member has been replaced and it is in fantastic shape. It's a recent job. The rest of the chassis is in really good shape. Corners, not too bad. Again, the panoramic glass is also on the rear as well. Back door, actually, not too bad. This might be a replacement door because it's missing the door card. So as you can see, no real rust going on the rear door. And your spare tire is mounted here. Full-size spare tire as well, matching all the rest of them. Cooper Discoverer STTs, a serious mud terrain. In the back here, we've got some aftermarket paneling, wood flooring, which kind of looks nice. There's no headliner in the rear, but there is up front. And a nice set of speakers. Trailer hitch as well. And there's a good look at the rear cross member from the outside. Good shape, nice set of Brit part. Mud flaps. Corners look like they've been replaced. Slight bit of corrosion here on the original panel. Cappings though on the driver's side are good as well. Gloss black roof. And again, there's a good look at the chassis from the top and the rear cross member. All good. Oh, there's a slight patch right here. Pretty small, it's about, I'd say 6 inches or so. So not too big. Fuel cap looks good. Checker plate, side steps on the driver's side as well. And these are aftermarket seat covers. They look pretty new. And again, we only have 57,000 miles from new. And again, you can check the MOT history on with the registration plate, and you can see it's only been driven about 2,000 miles per year on average, 2,000 to 3,000 miles. So she fires right up, obviously. Very responsive engine. No smoke or any blow by or back pressure. Runs solid and no smoke out of the tailpipe. And we didn't really take a look at the bulkhead corners, but those are in great shape as well from the front and from the back side. As you can see, no rust going on there. Original Arles blue paint right there. So bulkhead's in pretty good shape. All right, so let's take a look underneath here. There are disc brakes on this rear axle, 300 TDI axle. Shocks and springs these are obviously aftermarket from the lift kit, but they're not brand new, but they are definitely functional. There's some new hardware on the hitch here. Definitely a brand new A-frame ball joint there, which is nice. It's got a nice skid plate cover on the rear axle. And there is the driver's side. Dust cover's in place. Everything's looking good. There's the chassis. Again, real good shape because it's been replaced. And there's your exhaust, your muffler. That looks all good. Now we're on the driver's side looking towards the rear. There's the rear axle. Pinion seal looks good. Drive shaft looks good. Muffler looks good. There's your center diff. I don't really see anything leaking out of there. That looks nice and clean, actually. Bottom of the chassis rails look good. Here's your fuel tank. That is gorgeous. I don't see anything rusting or flaking off of there. And then there's a look at the front axle. Your bell housing, there's the bottom of the oil pan. That looks nice and clean. And that looks like a newer front drive shaft as well. And then here's your front outriggers. And those look to be in pretty good shape as well. Okay, here we are in the passenger side. This is the front of the vehicle. There's your front outrigger, great shape. Moving along down the chassis. Everything looks nice and tidy here. Bushings on the rear control arms look good. There's your aftermarket shocks. Not brand new, but they are functional and they don't rattle or bump. Okay, and up front here, it looks like this is an aluminum skid plate that's been painted yellow and then painted black. So a couple different coats of paint on there, and kind of hard to see the engine, but you can see new hardware there, new gasket on the sump seal. So the sump seal has just recently been done and in great shape. So no leaks out of the oil pan, and a brand new set of swivels as well up front. Both passenger and driver side. I love when they do both of them at the same time. Shocks and springs up front look good. And see if we can get a look at the steering components. There is there's a new nut there on the drop arm, so that's been replaced recently. Steering dampener looks good. Bushings all look good. No leaking out of the front axle, and another skid plate on the front axle as well. So this thing's got skid plates up front to protect the steering, and on the axles to protect those as well. Okay, so let's take this beauty for a drive. I'll show you all the gear changes, the braking and steering and all that good stuff. And it does have this nice little aftermarket steering wheel on here. So not quite as big as the original, and you get a little bit more room without hitting your arm on the window, which is nice. And again, 57,000 original miles on this motor, and it does run fantastic. All right, so there's first and second gear. Rolls quite nicely. Third gear and fourth gear. All right, so a little bouncy with the aftermarket suspension, which is to be expected. It's kind of a firmer suspension, which definitely helps off-road. And the tires are quite supple. They soak up the bumps nicely. A larger diameter tire is going to traverse the bumps a little better. So we just went over a real rough patch on the road right there, and it soaked it right up. So we're in fourth gear right now, going uphill. We don't need to downshift. Plenty of torque in the 300 TDI. We're just going about 30 miles an hour in fourth gear. No struggling at all. So we will downshift now and accelerate. There's 40 miles an hour. Fourth gear at 45. And fifth gear at 50. All right. So let's go ahead and get on the brakes here. Okay, there is a little slight vibration in the brakes, but not too serious. No squeaking at all though. No grinding in the brakes. There's just a little bit. Maybe the rotors might need to be turned up front. Waiting for traffic to clear. There's another Land Rover. Ooh. All right, so we'll back up here. There's reverse gear. And let's go through the gears one more time. First gear, second gear. Engine sounds great. Third gear, fourth gear, and fifth gear. Okay, so yeah, with the larger tires, you feel more of the road, you feel more of the steering input and stuff like that. So still a very good ride, very solid in the suspension, absolutely no grinding in the gearbox, and the driveline feels nice and solid, which means that the splines on the shafts are good on your transfer case. The splines on your axle stubs are good on the drive flanges and all that stuff, and the axles, so no slop there. Real solid driving vehicle, and just only slight imperfections on the exterior, but this would make somebody a great off-road weekend toy for sure.